Hey everybody, we're at NAB 2026 and I am joined today with Stephen Neff. He is the sales manager of LAOWA Lenses. And yeah, he's just going to talk to us today about some of the latest offerings that you're showcasing here at NAB.
Yeah, we got LAOWA. So the history of LAOWA, we start with macro lenses and get into some different wide angles. And then from there, once we got into the cine world, now we've expanded. We're talking probe lenses.
Yes.
Of course, the LAOWA probe is one of those lenses that brought LAOWA really heavy into the cine world.
I didn't realize that.
But now in the last couple of years, Anamorphic, right? There's been a big wave of Anamorphic, other manufacturers as well. We have a pretty good range of offerings from our little tiny, I'll grab one of these guys. This is a nanomorph, right? Lives up to the name. 1.5 squeeze, super 35 coverage, comes in all your different mirrorless mounts, but then we also have a different housing for PL or EF mount.
Oh, cool.
So that's getting into Anamorphic, $1,000 to start with a lens, build out a kit. We've got everything from a 27 to an 85. In this line now we've got the nanomorph zooms. So we've got a couple of zoom lenses, 1.5 squeeze, super 35 coverage, Anamorphic. The look is designed to match the nanomorph primes, right? And so building out that anamorphic kit with some zooms and some primes. If 1.5 squeeze isn't enough, we go to our Proteus lenses.
Whoa.
These are going to be our big guy. Again, still super 35 coverage, 2x anamorphic squeeze. The primes here are a T2, everything from 20 millimeter all the way up to, we have 135 millimeter in this range. And then again, the last couple of years with the Anamorphics, one of the things we've been doing is adding zooms. So here we've got a pair of 2x squeeze, super 35 coverage, Anamorphic zooms.
Okay.
Compared to the primes, you lose a stop. You're going to a T2.9 on these guys, but having a zoom range as an alternative to those primes and being able to integrate with a matched look.
Okay.
Right. One of the things with the lenses, when you go from one lens to the other, you want the look and feel to be the same.
Right.
You don't want a huge color shift or a huge distortion shift. You want that feel to go all the way across.
Awesome. So we work with a lot of like young up and coming filmmakers. I think a lot, if you're a part of CFA or League of Filmmakers, they probably recognize some of these words that Stephen is talking about. But since we're talking about anamorphic lenses right now, what makes an anamorphic lens an anamorphic lens?
My take, my positioning on this is what makes an anamorphic lens, what we're talking about is wide field of view with a shallow depth of field, right? Okay. We're still able to maintain that shallow depth of field while getting that wider field. We're not just going to a wider angle lens where we're going to get a larger depth of field if we just take that and crop. No, we want we're getting the vertical height and the separation in the background of more of the longer length. But then when we add that squeeze, we're getting a much wider field. So we still have the shallow depth, but a much wider field.
And when you're talking about squeeze, you mean, explain what you mean by squeeze. I'm not going to do it.
So it's actual, so if we think of a normal spherical lens, all of the elements in that lens are spherical, right? They're part of a circle, part of a sphere. In an anamorphic lens, there's a stack where there's cylindrical lenses, so they don't bend in the vertical degree. It looks like the side of a Coke can.
Yeah.
So it's just cylindrical, and so you're squeezing the light coming from the sides, but not coming from the top and bottom.
I see. And so a good way to see this in action is the bokeh, or the things that are blurry in the background. They will tend to have more of a
oval bokeh.
Yeah.
So we say the core of anamorphic is wide field of view while maintaining that shallow depth of field. But with that comes a whole bunch of other elements to the look. Often I would call them defects, but a lot of them may be desirables, right?
Sure.
The main one is going to be that streaky horizontal flare, that from the compression of all the light, we get that streak flare. That is something that is unique to anamorphic. And we have lenses that exaggerate that. We also have a couple of lenses now where we're trying to minimize that streak flare. Still in a full 2x anamorphic, but with a minimal flaring.
Interesting.
Or that the shape of the bokeh in the background, the waterfall fall off. there's a different look, and it's a preference, and you're trying to define as a filmmaker, as a storyteller, what is the look that fits your story and is going to fit your message, what you're trying to capture and deliver. So lots and lots of different options, huge different ranges of. That's why you've got a 1.5 squeeze, 2x squeeze, 1.3x, all different ranges to try and get that look of what you're trying to deliver.
Hell yeah. And you already mentioned this, but one of the things that drew me to this booth is that y'all make probe lenses.
Yes.
And what they look like is like almost like a periscope. And what is the specific use for a probe lens?
So the main uses for a probe lens is, one is you get a macro focus range, so you can focus up close, but the tube and the probe itself allows you to keep the camera and the rest of your equipment much farther away from the subject. So your working distance may be an inch away from the subject, but your actual camera, your minimum focus distance is about 2 feet away. So if you're dealing with subjects, we just talked to somebody this morning who's doing pictures of snakes.
Oh, whoa.
The phrase of the day is, be careful, there's venom on that probe.
Whoa.
Right? So you don't want to get right into the subject.
Yeah.
Or you have a cluttered area. So you're going through the classic shot of going through a dinner table and sort of moving the camera and the lens through the different shot, through the subjects. If you had to try and move the whole camera in through all of that,
Right.
You have to make space, you'd have to be moving stuff around. But with the probe lens, you can get a different angled tip. So we can get a 90-degree tip, have the camera way up above, but be looking
like a
out.
Submarine, but like upside down.
Yep.
Yeah.
The paraprobe is the one, so it's a periscope. We have a 35-degree tip, we have the 90-degree tip, we have a periscope where it's out 45 and then back. So you have the image plane is parallel to the sensor plane, but just offset.
Yeah.
So now if you want to do a pour over shot, right? You want to do like pouring a glass of milk down on top of the lens.
Yeah.
You don't want to have your camera down under that. You want to have the camera over here, the lens looking up this way, or here, and our camera's off to the side, protected.
That's crazy. Well, Ryan, thank you so much, Stephen. I
Absolutely.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you guys for stopping by.
Yeah, of
Love
course.
what you guys do.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
keep getting more content out there, helping more people tell their stories.
Right on, man. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Yeah.